How about Alan Grayson, who was with us yesterday, who brought forth the ethics complaint against McCarthy? He says this gentleman should be the Speaker of the House.
My guess is that Jim McDermott is going to be the next Speaker of the House because he's a psychiatrist. He ran a large psychiatric ward, and that's the skill set you need right now to run the House.
So I want to talk to the next Speaker of the House, Jim McDermott. Congressman, good to have you with us today.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Use all your professional skills and reel this one in for us.
Well, while we're laughing and having a good time here, it really is awful to consider what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a situation where you have a place in such disarray that nobody trusts anybody, and everyone thinks that they are entitled to run the place.
Yeah.
And this is the most dysfunctional. Many of us have been saying this all along, but, people say, well, that's just Democrats talking. But, in fact, what you have is a number of people who do not understand or do not care to understand how government runs. And that makes for a very, very dangerous kind of situation, because you've got a situation then where you've got people who are in charge who simply are unwilling, or you have people who are not in charge who are simply unwilling to compromise.
Well,
you could have the House run if John Boehner would come over to Nancy and say, Nancy, I need X number of votes. What do you need in the bill? And we'll pass the bill. I used to do that in the legislature.
Sure.
Many of us have done that.
Sure. Congressman, what about the protected power? They know they can do this and not lose the majority in the House. Your thoughts?
Well, certainly that's the theory under which the redistricting is done. But, Ed, if you look back in history in 1928 and 1932, the American people turned the tables upside down when they got fed up with what was going on. And they, in fact, elected Franklin Delano Roosevelt and gave him a huge number of votes in the Congress. So nothing is for sure here forever. And I think that one of the things that they don't understand is that the people, in spite of how the lines are drawn, people are going to begin to vote their own interests. Mm-hmm. And that's what they've miscalculated on, I think. The people aren't going to put up with this forever. Okay.
Your thoughts. Why did McCarthy do this? Is there a skeleton in the closet? Is there a backstory, a real story that's not being told? What can you tell us?
I don't think anybody knows the real answer to that, but I think he made a smart political decision. He decided that this thing is unwinnable. I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to have the same problem that John Boehner did, and I'm just not going to put myself through it. I think that there are times when people in power are in office discover that, what glitters is not always gold, and grabbing that is going to turn out to be a red-hot iron, and I don't want it. And I think that's really what you saw yesterday, was a guy saying to himself, hey, look, this could turn out to be a really bad deal, and I don't want it. I think there may be other things that will, people will find out, but I don't know any of that. I don't think anybody does.
Well, it was kind of like water off a duck's back to him. I mean, he said, well, I'm still going to be House Majority Leader. It's, in other words, his world's not going to be disrupted at all. I mean, and that's kind of how I took that. And
I think he may have overestimated that as well. I mean, if the caucus comes together around somebody dominated with the rules that the people have been putting forward and demanding that they get from the new leadership. I mean, Daniel Webster got that endorsement because he essentially said, I won't lead the place. I'll just let you guys do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And when you do that at Speaker, you are ultimately going to have such chaos that I don't think anybody knows what will happen in the next election.
Is there a chance that Boehner would be forced to stay on? I mean, that no one comes forward. Of course, the news last night was that Paul Ryan has cleared his schedule, canceled fundraisers. Speculation is that he is going to do it, and we all know what he's about.
Well, everybody wants to think, that there's a savior somewhere out there. I don't know that Paul's that crazy, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I disagree with him politically, but I like him and I recognize he's a decent human being. And I don't think he really thinks that he can run in and save this situation, because this is a real mess. Yeah. I mean, it is a real mess.
Congressman Jim McDermott, all the best. Appreciate your time. We'll do it again. Thank you.
See you.